I never believed in fairy tales, not the way my grandmother told them. She used to talk about a hidden kingdom in the woods, ruled by ancient fairies who could grant wishes or steal your soul, depending on their mood. She'd warn me, the fairies aren't like in your picture books. They're older than time, and they don't forgive trespassers. I thought it was just her way of keeping me out of the woods. But last summer, I found the kingdom. It started during a solo hike. The forest was quiet, too quiet. No birds, no insects, just an eerie stillness that made the hair on my neck stand up. I was about 2 hours in when I stumbled across a path I'd never seen before. It was made of stones, arranged so perfectly it looked like it had been placed there yesterday. Moss crept along the edges, but the path itself seemed untouched. Something about it felt inviting. Against my better judgment, I followed it. The deeper I went, the stranger the forest became. The air smelled sweet, like wildflowers and honey, but the trees looked ancient, their bark twisted and knotted in unnatural ways. The path seemed to glow faintly in the dim light, and the deeper I walked, the more I felt like I was being watched. Then I saw it. A village. It wasn't big, just a cluster of small cottages with thatched roofs, arranged in a perfect circle around a crystal-clear pond. The water shimmered, reflecting the sky even though the trees blocked most of the sunlight. The village didn't look abandoned, but it didn't look lived in either. Everything was too perfect. The windows of the cottages were clean, the flower boxes overflowing with blooms, and the air buzzed with the faint hum of energy. I felt like I'd walked into a dream. That's when I noticed them. Small figures darting just out of sight, peeking from behind trees and rooftops. They were quick, no bigger than a squirrel, with wings that glimmered like sunlight on water. They giggled softly, the sound carrying through the still air. "Hello," I called out. My voice sounded too loud in the quiet. The giggles stopped. Then, a figure stepped into the open. It was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her skin was pale and almost translucent, and her hair floated around her like it was underwater. Her eyes were silver, shimmering like the pond. She wore a dress made of petals and leaves, and when she spoke, her voice was soft but commanding. "You shouldn't be here. I didn't mean to intrude," I stammered. "I just found the path, and..." "The path found you," she interrupted, her eyes narrowing. "This is not a place for humans." I took a step back, but something about her held me in place. "I'll leave," I said quickly. "I didn't mean any harm." She tilted her head, studying me. "You've seen the kingdom. That cannot be undone." Before I could ask what she meant, the air around me shifted. The village faded, replaced by a dense forest. The trees seemed taller, their shadows longer. The path was gone, and the hum of energy had been replaced by an eerie silence. I ran, tripping over roots and stumbling through the underbrush, until I finally found the trailhead. When I looked back, the forest seemed darker, as if it were hiding something. I told my grandmother what happened, expecting her to laugh or scold me for making up stories. Instead, she went pale. "You saw them," she whispered. "The fairies." She never told me what that meant, but sometimes, when I close my eyes, I hear their laughter, soft and distant, just out of reach.